محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا 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 الله محمد رسول الله
بسم الله
لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا 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 الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا 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 الله محمد رسول الله
بسم الله
لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا 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 الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا 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 الله محمد رسول الله
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Adada khalqihi wa rida nafsihi wa zinata arshihi wa midada kalimatihi wa muntaha ilmihi wa jami'a ma sha'a wa khalaqa wa dhara'a wa bara'a. Alim al-ghayb wa shahadatu ar-Rahman ar-Rahim maliki yawmiddin. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar. Wa alaikum salam. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My crooked Kimar sister. You fixing your Kimar in the camera is going to make it worse. Because you be taking it one way, then you turn the other way.
I'm trying to figure out which side is what.
That's
Okay,
what the
so
mirror
this
is
is
for.
so
Not
this
the
is
camera.
this is the tutorial on how to figure. Wa alaikum salam to everyone. Nadira, Sakina, Brother Baron, Sister Teresa, my daughter Khadija. Thank you for joining us. Please share, spread the love, share, like, and subscribe to the YouTube page. Wa alaikum salam to Brother Farouk, Sister Sophia. Thank you for joining us. Alhamdulillah. It is nice to see y'all. Alhamdulillah. Those who are joining us on YouTube world and Facebook world. Wa alaikum salam to Brother Levon. Thank you for joining us.
It's also good, like say some of you may always watch us on Facebook, for example, right? And you normally, come to us, our classes, and you interact with us on Facebook. Even if that's you, still subscribe to YouTube channel. Always I say that because if you subscribe and you hit that little bell, you get the notification. It's like insurance. because sometimes we will go live and you watch us on Facebook, but Facebook won't send you a notification, but YouTube will, and you know that we're on. And vice versa. Maybe you watch us on YouTube, you don't really on Facebook, you don't watch us on Facebook. But sometimes YouTube don't send notifications, but Facebook will. So that's good for insurance, because a lot of times you come to our class, like, I didn't know you was on. Like, you didn't get no notification. Same thing with Imam Amin's class. You know, they have his classes and his sessions. They have, we do it the same way. We stream on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So it's good to be on notification and subscribed on all platforms. Just even if one doesn't send you a notification, the other one will. And you'll be in the loop, inshallah. Wa alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Kwame, Nakinya, Fatima, Muhammad, Ali. Alhamdulillah. That's the link for the YouTube.
Yes, that's the link for this broadcast right now. Alhamdulillah. So, how are you guys this evening? Alhamdulillah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I know you opened up, so I'm going to open up as well. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa salama tasliman alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salamu ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. Amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah. May Allah bless this gathering. Alhamdulillah. May Allah put barakah in it. Alhamdulillah. And it is a mercy. And we need to be grateful that Allah didn't call us back, because whoever was here last week probably did not make it this week. And we know that there's a particular sister that we know from the community of Masjid Muhammad in Atlantic City. I had the pleasure of meeting when I went to vend at Masjid Muhammad of Atlantic City. She was the liaison there for the vending, and Allah called her back. So let's recite Surah Fatiha for her soul. Alhamdulillah. She had the sweetest personality, alhamdulillah, very, down to earth. And I just met her one time, and, may Allah be pleased with her, and may Allah, forgive her of her sins and grant her a high station in Jannah. Ameen, ameen, ameen. And let's not forget, those that have passed. Never forget them. It's easy to forget, but let's not forget about them.
I was making those funny faces. I was messing with Abu Mawadda, because he said, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Then he said, here I am. So I was like, here I am. Here I is.
Oh, and his wife, alhamdulillah. Yeah, his wife is with us as well. Wa alaikum salam to Nabi Katu, Sister Zainab.
I'm talking about the brother. I ain't talking about his wife.
I'm talking about his wife. How about
when I'm talking, you don't interrupt me when I'm talking about a brother to talk about his wife.
How you talking while I'm talking?
Don't stop loud talking to me. See, you talking when I'm talking.
Alhamdulillah. That was a song, y'all. Y'all ain't catch that. Let me see how tuned in you are. But mashallah. Couple things happened this week in the news. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was announced that Biz Markie, those from our generation know who he is. They said he was dead, but in fact, he isn't. He's in the hospital. So may Allah, heal him and guide him. And this is someone that we grew up back in the day. He was a beatboxer. He was a beatboxer. So y'all young kids that were born in the 90s and like late 90s and on, y'all hear it now, but it's nothing compared to living in that era. Mashallah. That was an instrument, using your mouth. Make the music with your mouth, bitch. Y'all know that. That's right. That's right.
Sister, hush. Your voice is outer. You don't need to be doing all that. Your voice, just hush right there. I don't even know. I don't even know why you talking, sister. Listen,
I know, right?
While we doing this broadcast, if you want to communicate with our listeners, do sign language. That's what we need from you. Remember we started doing the show, and somebody was like, "I don't know why this sister talking here. This stuff is out of and he watching the whole show. Like, log off because it's all right.
Now I'm just reminiscing, we're not gonna go to his haram. He was using his mouth, so there's some difference in opinion with that because it wasn't a guitar or piano or organ or anything like that. But
no, I'm not talking about all that. I'm talking about you be on this camera talking. We ain't talking about Bismarck.
Well, I am. But anyway, the second
your voice is outer, sister. Your voice is private part.
The second thing that I want to mention was that Bill Cosby was released this week. What y'all think about that?
Oh, you about to start another show. Now you're going to do our topic.
Yeah, we go. No, I had to mention it. That was the second thing that happened this week. Sister Teresa said I had teenagers that heard it in my house years ago. Mashallah. Yeah, what y'all think about that? Bill Cosby was released. I have a lot to say about that. But I wanted to see what y'all think.
Hey, ma'am, we need you to come on live and sing that part right there.
Yeah,
the way Biz sang it.
Yeah, with the wig and everything.
Oh, ma'am, with a wig on the same way Bismarck had on.
Oh my goodness, subhanAllah. He's talking about some jello.
See, these youngins don't know nothing about that.
No. Khalifa, Allahu Akbar, justice has been served with Bill Cosby's release. Yes.
Because with that situation, a lot of people don't know. Most people don't. I don't even know the whole story. But what we do know is that, back in the day, he had a whole gang of entanglements. Willing entanglements.
Willing, that's the key word. Willing.
Right.
Participants.
And, drugs was involved and all that kind of stuff. What they call it back then? Quaaludes?
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Kind of like used the way a lot of people use, what they using now? Molly's and stuff like that, right? The way people use that now, right? And so they be, freaking out, getting their freak on. And a lot of these people, and a lot of them was white. And that was something back in the day, It ain't like now where it's normal and all kind of stuff. So him, rich black man with all these willing white women, getting drugged up, having sex, and he's married the whole time. So obviously Islam doesn't condone none of that stuff. Nope. But a lot of these people popped up decades later and said, you know what? He took advantage of me. He drugged me and he took advantage of me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so they brought him up on charges. And they agreed to basically not pursue the charges. But part of the agreement was that he be deposed, meaning he will say everything that happened in a deposition. That was his part of the agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And their part of the agreement was that they will not convict him for what he says in a deposition. So that's what they did. And so after they did that, it was like somebody else came along. It was like, nah, we convicted him. So they made an agreement and they broke it. And then usually a lot of people that are triggered, by, who are like basically closer to the feminist side of things, they say, oh, it's horrible what he did. You need to turn your volume down, I think, too.
I'm sorry.
So And he did all these things to these women. It don't matter how long ago it was, but they forgot, or they conveniently leave out the fact that the prosecutors agreed not to convict him for what he said in the deposition. They just said, for all that, we're gonna convict you anyway. And so they had a new trial, and that's how he ended up in jail. Now the deep thing about it is, what a lot of people don't know is that this is some rural Philadelphia politics taking place. This is Montgomery County, right? It's outside of Philadelphia. What had happened is that you had political opponents. It was a prosecutor. He was running for office against a judge, and it was a bunch of personal stuff going on. One dude was cheating with the other dude's wife, and so basically what had happened is that when the other dude got in power, he took it out on the dude who he had this political and personal beef with, by overturning and just forgetting what he agreed upon and just convicting Bill Cosby as a way to get back for the dude that he was running against in political office with. So not only fact, people talk about, the NBC and he black and they were white. It was more than that. It was, good old boy, redneck, white boy politics that was going on. And the reason why I know this is because one of the lawyers presently who was connected to the Bill Cosby case, he did an interview. Where was I watching that interview at? It might have been Vlad. He was talking about it there, and he mentioned all that back politics and stuff that was going on. And this was interview that was aired a few weeks ago. And he said he didn't want to talk too much about it because stuff is going on right now. And I guess we know what was going on right now. He's out, right? But he said it was like, it's always more than meets the eye, and which also tells you that, a lot of us got a lot of faith and a lot of trust that, these are the rules and these are the laws, and, this is a law. How could they possibly do this? This is a travesty. They don't care about nothing about no law. They get rid of the law when they feel like it. Just like it was documented, right? It was, okay, you cannot be tried or convicted for whatever you say in this deposition. That's agreed. It's documented. It's in writing. They say, okay, we see the document, we see the writing, we see the agreement. Forget all that. We're going to convict you anyway. And Bill Cosby got bread, and it didn't help him.
They make up the rules as they go along, as if it seemed fit. They make them, they can break them. People think rules is like in stone, and they have to honor them. If they can easily make them, they break them when it's convenient for them. So you got to trust in the law. You know what I'm saying, in your affairs. And that it was a law that allowed him to be released, and subhanAllah. So don't be sleeping thinking, I'm going to be able to beat this case. Everything is on my side. Everything line up. Throw a monkey wrench in there. Don't let the prosecutor don't like you. Don't let the prosecutor don't like the defense attorney you hired. Like you mentioned, there's some background things going on that have nothing to do with the case, but yet it affected his case, SubhanAllah.
That's why, I try not to worry about stuff, because you try to make sure all your ducks is in a row. You do everything legal or do everything right, whatever. And then people just do what they want to do anyway. And it may just be your day to get done wrong. So that's why I try not to worry either which way. I just try to make sure I be right with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because ain't nobody can do nothing to you or me unless Allah decrees it. And that's the bottom line. So that's Imam Jamil Alameen is a perfect example. Exactly. And then they actually said when they sentenced Imam Jamil, I forgot if it was at the sentencing or at the when they came back with the guilty verdict, when the prosecutor said in open court, we finally got him. Said it in open court. You would think that would be that's proof of a conspiracy. Nah, it don't matter. So what? Okay, okay, you got us. We set him up. What you gonna do?
Nothing. If they want to put a case on you, there's nothing you can do. You could have been like 2,000 miles away. If they want to pin something on you, and there's no way that you're guilty of it, and there's so many people in jail right now that don't belong there. None. And it takes years and years and decades for them to prove your innocence. That's if you have a team to help you. And not everybody has that privilege. SubhanAllah.
And
So don't forget about those people.
A lot of times people get punked into telling on themselves. Especially if you're young, you don't have a lot of experience, you know, you're scared, whatever. It's your first, second time getting arrested. They about to throw you under the jail. You might as well just tell us everything, right? Like, well, you did this crime, right? No, but you got to admit to this crime for us to take it easy with you on this other crime that we got you for, right? And so sometimes you got to ask them what you did so that you can tell them what you did at sentencing to get the plea, what you think is a good. Nobody can hear you.
I would say you froze up. Oh, there you go.
Nobody can hear you. You're frozen.
You frozen.
No, you was frozen.
You was frozen first.
I saw myself moving. And
Maybe
you was frozen.
I'm still frozen?
No.
Oh, okay, alhamdulillah. Just like Khalifa said, I know that personally. They do whatever they want. There's so many examples. The Central Park 5. If you haven't seen that story, you need to watch it. That was sad.
Yeah.
That was, and a lot of us have children, you know, young teenager boys, girls too. They're not safe. Like, you got to teach them, you know, how to.
Zubaida, you just saying that because she's a woman and you agree with her. Imam, you were frozen, not her.
Thank you. MashaAllah. Wow.
There's a lot of feminism going on this platform. We're going to need to squash that.
SubhanAllah.
Hey, Ismail. Hello, you were frozen. Yo, man, whose side you on? You off cold, huh? Yo, even if I was frozen, you're not supposed to say nothing, man.
Well, that was not the topic today, but I said there was 3 things that happened this week. I mentioned 2. I think it was the sister that I mentioned before, Sister Hafiza, because I was looking forward to seeing her at the picnic coming up next month. But see how things go? We plan and Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. So, mashallah, please keep her in your du'as. He done disappeared on us. Oh, mashallah. Well, you want to open up our
You know what? You told me I was muted and you was muted when you told me I was muted. My beloved brothers and sisters, we want today to talk about zina. As we all know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, La taqrabu zina. Do not go near zina. And we don't want to talk about just zina, you know, regular or just, how can I say, just all types of zina. We want to talk about what I call backdoor zina. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Isla and my brother Isa, alhamdulillah. Because a lot of times, and this is, you know how, you know, we're going through what appears to be, and Allah knows best, the tail end of the COVID pandemic, right? You know, epidemic is one level. Pandemic is a higher level. It's worse. It's worse than an epidemic. Well, in the Muslim community, we have several pandemics, not epidemics, pandemics going on. And one of the epidemics that we have going on, or pandemics that we have going on in the Muslim community, is this particular form of backdoor zina. I'm going to describe the backdoor zina for you, what it looks like. The backdoor zina is you have a brother and sister who are married. They have problems in their marriage. And now let me back up. You have a brother and sister who are married. And a lot of sisters keep a few cards up their sleeves. You know, for those of you who are watching outside of the United States, it's an American phrase to keep a card up your sleeve. Like if you're playing a game of cards and you want to cheat, you got a card that you can play that people don't even recognize that you have. And so sisters keep extra brothers up their sleeve. She can be married to a brother, and she keeps some brothers that she talks to. If she gets caught, she may make up any number of reasons. She may say, you know, he's just my friend. Hey, Bismarck, you said he's just a friend. Right? I didn't mean to do that. It just happened, right? Oh, baby, right? He's just a friend. You know, when I'm stressed, you know, we go way back, and he's someone I can talk to, and he listens to me. He doesn't judge me, blah, 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 all that stuff y'all be saying, y'all sisters. They'll be saying, right? You got a whole husband, right? But you keep this brother. He's at the edge of the friend zone. He know you married, but he's on deck. Your number's in the phone. I don't know what the number's saved as. You know, Sister's Bold. It could be his name, but it might be Domino's or Pizza Hut. He might be saving the Domino's Pizza Hut, right? Whatever. People got all types of tricks now. Or you can make certain aspects of your phone private where you don't see it, right? And so, you know, or Ghost, right? The brother Ghost, right?
From Power.
Right? So, you know, you talk to him. You may not even talk to him all the time. You just may touch base every now and then with him, right? Assalamu alaikum. Oh, I didn't realize I made the call. Oh, how you doing anyway, sister? Alhamdulillah. You still married? Yeah, okay, alhamdulillah. All right, whatever. Small talk, get off the phone. That's the call to let you know, I'm still interested in you, but I'm still married to this dude. But, you know, if it don't work out, you always be there. A lot of sisters do that, and it's a pandemic. They always keep somebody on deck.
It's called a Plan B.
Plan B?
Yeah, like that pill. Plan B. If you don't want to get pregnant, you take that pill to dissolve the inception of the sperm in the egg. Plan B. Right. So that's what they call it. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh, Sister Isla and Brother Isa, and somebody else came into the room. Oh, Abdul Kareem.
Rasha. So they keep, as what y'all call it, that's a sister's term, Plan B. They're not doing nothing yet. They, but he there. He in the wings, right? He in the stands or in the bleachers, right? And a lot of times, a lot of times, if we're naive, we don't know what's going on. A sister get divorced, and as soon as her iddah is up, she's already married to someone else. She didn't just go on Facebook that day and meet the brother that day and got married that day. No, he was there the whole time. You just didn't realize it. Wa alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ismail, I thought you was already here. This is backdoor zina. You're not supposed to be doing that. Keeping somebody in the wings, waiting, talking to another dude. What you got to say about that, Samira? It goes deeper than that, but I'm stopping right there for now. What do you have to say, my muted sister?
We just We be sabotaging our situations, thinking we're safeguarding our situations or safeguarding ourselves or protecting ourselves. You actually exposing yourself to the punishment. Now think about that translated ayat in the Quran. Allah says, do not approach, right? He didn't say don't commit zina. He didn't say the actual thing. He said don't approach it. Approach mean what? You're in the car and you about to approach the stop sign or the red, the light, right? The red light, green light, right? You're approaching it. You're not there yet, but you are proceeding to go that way. We just talked about this last week about boundaries. And some of y'all was trying to philosophize why the boundaries, like what's wrong with that, right? This is what's wrong with that. Because what are you talking about that you cannot talk about with your spouse? That you got to talk to a whole person outside your spouse? Why is it that they have intimate details when we know that as a married couple, intimate details are not to be shared to those that are outside your circle? Your circle's you and him, right? And so you're having this situation as though this person cares about you. I'm talking to the sisters. This person do not care anything about you. He's looking at you as future poom poom, like layaway poom poom. That's what you are. I'm just gonna put it that way.
Layaway panties.
Right. Layaway panties, layaway poom poom.
Do they still do layaway in the stores?
Yeah, but this time they let you have it and you make payments like Klarna and Quad Pay. They got all types of payment arrangements. But you have the item. You don't have to go pay it up and then pick it up. So this person, you cannot trust them. Because first of all, he talking to you like that. How many other females he talking to like that? They got layaway panties, quad pay, Klarna drawers waiting there, right? And it's like we wonder why our situation is jacked up. There is no barakah in your marriage when you're doing that plan B. That's some bull crap. I got some plan B.
I want to back up even a little bit more because a lot of times we act simple and slow and we don't, because a lot of times, sometimes we don't like to connect the dots. A lot of times we just oblivious to how we got here, right? I'll give you one example. Man, woman, single, right? None of them are married. They both looking to get married. They meet each other, however they meet each other. So they start talking about getting married. They may even get intended or engaged, whatever terminology you use. For whatever reason, it don't work out, right? They don't ever get married, but they still talking to each other. They develop a friendship. And in the process of trying to marry each other, they shared some stuff with each other about each other. So, they're talking, they still maintain this friendship that is supposed to be cool because they don't act like they don't know what boundaries are anymore. And they lie to themselves and they think amongst themselves that this continued conversation and so-called friendship is halal somehow. And we ain't doing that haram, right? They still talking to each other. They both go about their way. He get married, she get married. They still friends, still talking to each other. That's one way it happens. Y'all still talking to him. He's my friend. Man, he was about to have your panties. Y'all just decided not to do it. But now the new husband don't know. He's just a friend. Oh, baby, you, right? He's just a friend. And a lot of times on the surface, it seems like, see, y'all beating up on the sisters. The sisters foul. Both of those people are grimy people. Not only do you got the sister who's in the marriage and who's keeping a plan B on her husband, you got the grimy nigga that don't mind being a plan B. He know he waiting in the wings. He like yeah, he gonna mess up. It's bad if you don't go to the bad shit. You know how supposed to something like a Malik Salah. You don't even think he know your wife. He got your wife number in his phone. He know everything. He know what you had for dinner last night, right? She know his favorite meal. So if you act up, she gonna start making his favorite meal, right? You know this is the type of stuff that's going on, right? You got the type of grimy dude who don't mind waiting in the wings. He cool. He like, all right, we Muslim. I can have my own wife over here or whatever. But if it don't work out for him, I'm gonna snatch that up too, right? And so this is like part of the backdoor Zina. You was about to say something?
Yes. Can I jump on that?
Yeah. Go ahead.
We call ourselves Muslims, right? We got to get past the just Muslim by name. Like, we got to stop playing. We had referred to the ayat in Quran, Surah Nisa, Surah 4, ayat 34. We have mentioned that ayat. I don't think it was this week. I think it was last week. I think it was the week before. And we were breaking down. It might have been last week. I don't know. My mind's fuzzy. And we talked about the roles of the brothers and the sisters and things, right? In that verse, and this is the translated portion, a lot in that is translated. Therefore, the righteous women are devoutly obedient and guard in absence. Think about a fortress. What is the purpose of the fortress? To keep the enemies out. Your marriage is a fortress. Once you start letting people in, that fortress, you done compromise the fortress. There's no more protection. We have to guard not only ourselves, but the actual union, right? And you wonder why all these enemy forces coming in your situation. It get overturned because you opened the gate. And as a wife, that is one of your duties to your Lord, is to guard your husband in his absence. And when you're talking to a dude, you're like Fred Hampton in his situation. When that informant was in their house reporting back to the people where each, the blueprint of where everybody's bedroom was sitting. And our brother got slaughtered.
Yeah, he actually drew a blueprint for the police about where everything was situated, the layout and everything like this.
Right.
And when you let people inside your marriage, this is exactly what's going on. They're drawing a mental blueprint in their mind where the weaknesses are, okay, he really don't got control of his wife like that, because if he did, I wouldn't be able to talk to her like this. So this is a weakness, is a division right there. And, so he's getting a lay of the land. He's doing reconnaissance. Like, all right, whenever I want to, I'm going to be all up in here, right? That dude know when you going to get divorced before you do. And you the husband, and the divorce is in your hand.
He knows too much information, valuable information, that you can consider that treason. Like, that's grounds for divorce. And vice versa. Because we're talking about the woman. The brothers too. Now the brothers say, well, I can get another wife. There's protocols. How do you get another wife?
Exactly. It ain't no protocol if she's someone else's wife, right? But a lot of us, we still in the Jahiliyyah. See, we think because there's Arabic words attached that is Islam. That all of this stuff is Islamic. Ain't none of this stuff Islamic. if you just pretend, ignore the kufis, the thobes, the abayas, the kimars, niqabs, and all that stuff. Ignore all that stuff and look at how we act, the people that act like this. It's the same stuff that happened on the street. It's the exact same stuff. There's no difference. We just lying to ourselves. And that's one thing we've become very good at, is lying to ourselves. It's bad enough we lie to each other, but we lie to ourselves. We fool ourselves into thinking that, this is Islamic and we're acting, we're being good Muslims, right? And so just to take it even a step further, right? So you have this situation, this talking going on. This is when it gets even more sticky, even more haram. You have the couple, the brother and sister is married. Now, whatever happens, there's a problem in the marriage. So the brother, he pronounced divorce. He pronounces the talaq. So she's in iddah. That's what it's called when the husband pronounces divorce. I'm going to type it here in English anyway. Waiting period. Iddah is a waiting period. And I'm going to say it again for you, for those in the back. When a man pronounces the divorce and the woman is in iddah, she is still his wife. And that's why it's called a waiting period. But part of the pandemic with this backdoor zina is that sisters don't want to wait. They too hot in the pants. And also, they scared to be lonely. That's really the undermining part of it, that part that no one talks about. A lot of times, yes, it's one thing. Yes, a lot of us is freaks, and we need to get it all the time, and we need to have, even if I ain't getting it right now, I need to know that it's real close so I can get it when I want to, right? The brother waiting in the wings, the Plan B dude. I know he claimed to be Muslim and all that, but if I told him I give him some right now without nikah, he'd give it to me. That dude, he'd be ready to smash even if there was no talaq and no iddah. He would have still smashed him. That's been waiting in the wings. That grimy dude, I got him there. But really, what's undermining this stuff is that a lot of times we got a lot of unresolved trauma and we scared to be alone. There got to be some noise around. There got to be, even if it's drama, got to be something going on. I just can't just be me and myself looking in the mirror in this lonely house. And lonely house means even if there's kids there. Right? And so the waiting period, the sisters don't want to wait. That's what makes the Wahhabi so-called methodology, and that's the whore methodology. Even if they claim to base it on a hadith that the scholars clearly say that they don't act upon, that's a one-off situation, but they made it a norm. Iddah, 1 month. Sisters who got this issue, they love that. They love that. So I can okay, he divorce, kula, 1 month. Brother, you next. Your turn. I told you it wasn't going to work out. You next. Let's go. Get up off the bench. Come on.
Like a number. Like a number. And it literally be the number because you start participating that way. It's not going to last, and it's going to be another one because you got 1 month's iddah, right? Mm-hmm. It leads to other things. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I forgot what I was going to say. Idris. Around here, we don't call them Salafis. We call them Wahhabis. The only time we use the word Salafi is just for those who are uninitiated, because this is what they call themselves. They are not Salafi. They are Wahhabi. We know what you mean. We talk about the same people. But, even when we use the term Salafi, we always say Wahhabi. I use the term self-identified Salafis. So in reality, Wahhabis, right? And we know this is not exclusive to the Salafi community, but they made it a fad. They popularized it. They made this thing go pop. At least I can speak for when I was living in Philadelphia. Most of the people that got divorced, it was done by khula. And the common person on the street didn't know what a talaq was. They thought that the normal default way to get divorced was by khula. And that's for many reasons. That's for many reasons, because the way they did it, it supports many sick pathologies and stuff that, you know, is in the hood and stuff that niggas do, right? People, dudes want panties and they don't want to pay for it, right? So now we become Muslim. We got to find a way to do that same nigga stuff, but just make sure that it passes off as Islam. So when we get married, right? You can ask for whatever you want as a dowry. I'm not going to give it to you. We're going to agree that it's deferred, meaning I'll pay it later, layaway, right? Your dowry's on layaway, right? I give it to you later. We're going to get married. We're going to smash. Then we not going to, and then when the marriage don't work, am I going to give you a talaq? No. You're going to ask for a khula. And I'm going to agree to the khula. And the khula is when a woman ransoms herself out of the marriage. And many times the ransom is the dowry, a lot of times. Don't have to be. It could be less. It could be more. But the norm is based upon the dowry, the mahar. And so the man is going to say, okay, give me my dowry back. She's going to remind him that you didn't pay the dowry. Then he's going to say, okay, then we're even. Since you were supposed to pay me back what I gave you, but since I didn't give it to you, then we even. So therefore, we got married, we had sex, I didn't pay no dowry, and we got divorced. And your iddah is only 1 mens. It's not 3 menses. It's only 1 mens. And because it's only 1 mens, now she can get with somebody very soon thereafter. And so that's the way you Islamicize niggerism in the Muslim community. And that's what's normal in Philadelphia now. And who's doing it in Philadelphia? Wahhabis. And default Wahhabis who don't know better. Because Ahlus Sunnah quiet, not saying nothing, and just being cool with it. And that's normal there. And so that's the way people do. So you can get married, have sex, and do all that kind of stuff, and not pay 1 dowry and be on to the next dude in less than a month. And this is supposed to be Islam. Why did I get off on all that? Oh, I was saying he said the Salafi community, and they popularized it. They ain't the only ones. They just popularized it. They're the main ones. They're the main ones. They made the girlfriend-boyfriend hood rat marriage popular. So if you follow that methodology, you can actually get married, not pay a dowry, and get out of it when you want. And if you have kids, you ain't got to take care of it, especially if you do what a lot of them do, commit zina first. So that way, you got to make sure you got to commit zina. So if a child is born, then it's a child of the bed. And I ain't got to pay for it. And if you go to try to get child support, you go into the kufar. I mean, it don't stop. I can keep going on and on with this, right? It's not Islam. It's just hood rat stuff. You're just using Islam to it. You're just using Islam to justify it. Why are you sitting there quiet? What you doing over there? You muted. You're muted.
I'm sorry. So you mentioned this scenario. The woman is in iddah and it's a waiting period. And let me clear this up. The waiting period isn't a means to finalize preparation with this plan B dude. That's not what it's for. In fact, while you in Idda,
That's right. Alhamdulillah, Habibi. Shukran. You got me back on track. Keep going.
in fact, the purpose of being in Idda has the purpose, but there's conditions that you have to abide by while in Idda. You guys want to hear it? I made a song about it. So if you go to Surah Baqarah, ayat 235, y'all pull out y'all Qur'ans, right? You go to Surah Baqarah, ayat 235. I'm gonna read the translation, and this is clear. This is not hadith. This is clear. It says, and this is the, how can I say it? Hold on. Phone going on. While she is in Idda, Allah has mentioned in here, there is no blame if you hint. You got outright, we're going to get married on such and such. Once this is over.
Habibi.
What?
Can you stop there? I need to back up. I need to get a little bit more technical first.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
When a woman is divorced, right, she enters into her waiting period. Now, divorce is threefold, meaning when a man pronounces the talaq or the divorce on his wife the first time in a marriage, that's obviously one talaq. And she's in that waiting period. During that waiting period, which is 3 menses under a normal situation, under normal conditions, then she is still technically his wife. She is still technically his wife. She is still technically his wife, right? So when those 3 menses expire, when those 3 menstrual cycles come and go, now she's a free woman. She can marry someone else or remarry him, or what have you. During that waiting period, that brother, that husband, can take her out of Idda. He can say, you know what, I want to keep you. And he can take her back a few ways. He can say it. He can be intimate with her, meaning he can kiss her or do something more than that. That's ways that he can take her back. And he has that right to take her back. So while a woman is in that waiting period from that one talaq, it is haram, 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 haram for any brother to approach her for marriage, openly or subtly. He can't hint at it, and he definitely can't do it directly. Haram. It's haram for him to do it, and it's haram for her to entertain it. If a dude from outside, yeah, I know you in Idda, when your Idda's up, you think I can slide it? Marry you, right? He's haram. It's haram. He done something haram. And she listens to that and goes along with it and says, okay, whatever. She's doing something haram. Right? That's one example. That's one divorce in a marriage. This marriage, let's say he had already pronounced divorce before. So they already have one talaq. They got back together. He pronounces divorce again the second time. Everything I just described about everything that I just described about the one talaq is the same with the 2 talaqs. She's still his wife. He can take her back. And if any brother approaches indirectly or directly, it's haram. and it's haram for her to entertain it. Same thing. Now let's go to the last scenario. The last scenario is that he pronounced talaq, and it's the third one, which means he can't he don't have authority to take her back. They ain't gonna never be married again. Islamically, I know we doing some other stuff, but according to Islam, Quran and Sunnah, he can't take her back. Even if they want to get back together, he can't take her back. That's the third talaq. In this situation, it is haram for another dude to come and openly say, hey, I want to marry you. But he can do it indirectly, subtly. And Fit gives you examples of that. Hey, sister, you look beautiful. Something like that. Saying, hey, listen, I know you're in your third talaq, and I want to marry you. Let's make plans. You can't do that. That's openly. That's obvious. And a lot of us, we don't know what subtle means. So, like, what's that? Because we do subtle all the time, and it's haram. She's married, ain't divorced, and her brother's on her page talking about, hey, you look beautiful, right? So that's not subtle, right? You're doing that all the time anyway. She already posted a picture of herself, and her brother already put a heart on it, and she's somebody's wife, and she ain't in Iddah. So those type of people don't even understand how that's subtle, right? But subtle is like, hey, you look nice today, sister, right? Or you're looking beautiful, right? And so something subtle like that, right? That's indirect, subtle. That's not saying, hey, me, you gonna get married when your menses is over, because that's obvious, that's open. And the reason why they give that little leeway like that on that third irrevocable divorce is because the man doesn't have power or authority to take her back, even though she's still technically his wife while she's in Iddah, but he don't have no ability to take her back. And it's the same if a woman is divorced by a khula, or a woman is widowed, is in a waiting period because she's a widow, which is 4 months and 10 days, right? In those situations, the man can't take his wife back, even though she's still technically his wife, but he can't take her back. Once the time period elapses, it's over. And so then he can, so in that situation, another brother who knows that can make a subtle hint at being interested. And so I wanted to mention all of that. I wanted to break it down because I seen where you was going. I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No problem, no problem. You said if she was a widow, well, he can't take her back. He dead, right? SubhanAllah.
But you never know these days. Y'all sisters is crazy. You be like, oh, she's a widow, husband dead, and then the dude come walking up. I'm like, sister, I thought she was dead. I thought he was dead. Well, he dead to me. How y'all go.
And so we're humans, right? I'm hoping that we humans, right? And so Allah put in us innate things that is in our nature to be attracted to the other sex. That's a given. You don't say, oh, no, I'm not attracted to the opposite sex. I don't, what kind of human are you? I don't know what you're doing, but Allah put that in us, right? And so Allah knows his creation. He knows us better than ourselves. And once we place ourselves in these situations, like you said, these backdoor Zina situations, we can't find ourselves out, because once your heart is into something and that shaitan is whispering, it advances. Like we were talking about a car advancing, approaching the intersection, approaching the light, approaching the stop sign. You going so fast, you can't even stop yourself because your heart is in it, right? I could have described other things, but it would be too illicit, and I don't know who's listening. But anyway, at certain things, you can't stop. You just might as well keep going on, right? Right? Might as well keep going on. Why start it? Why even initiating that? That you know there's a possibility things are going on these days, and it's sad. On this show, we try to talk about ideal situations, not something like La La Land, that is not possible. No, ideal situations. But when we start like deviating from that, then we look at these situations that we're talking about as the norm. Like you were saying, it's the norm, you know, to do the kula and not the talaq, right? The norm, you know, and it's crazy. So what I was trying to say is that, and I lost my train of thought, we have to.
You was about to read an ayat of Quran from Surah Baqarah.
Right. So going back, because you basically, you know, mentioned that, is that Surah 2, ayat 235, Allah is telling you, there's no sin on you if you hint as a proposal to women or conceal it in your hearts. Allah does know what you will mention to them. Allah knows what you're going to say. He says, watch out. You can hint, right? It's, you know, one of those things. But watch how you say it. You know what I mean? Like, don't be making plans. Well, we're going to get married once you, whatever. You don't, it's just a hint, you know? Allah knows best how you do it. You got to do that in an honorable manner. So, because this is a translation, okay? I want to remind y'all, the translation. But do not make a promise to them secretly. Hello? You can't do it secret. That means no inbox. And you got to get a lot of brothers that do that. I'm sorry, brothers. In the inbox. I know y'all going through some stuff. I see you in there. But, you know, don't forget me once it complete. Right? You can't do it in secret. So what that means? You got to make it known. Somebody got to know. Right? And when you mention it, except that you say it in a manner that, okay, this is what is clear, but it's not like a promise. It's not like you entering into a contract to this person. Because that's haram. You can't go into a contract with someone that's already in a contract. A marriage is a contract. So you can't make another contract on top of that. That's just like you got a mortgage. And then on top of that, for whatever crazy reason, the bank that you got the mortgage with want to charge you rent. Like, you can't do that. That don't even make no sense. That's not even binding, you know? SubhanAllah. So you can't do it in secret. You can make a hint. Allah knows what you mean to say. And so when you do it in a manner that is recognized. So you got to make sure you say it the right way. See, we thinking all the rules, like some of the sisters think the rules is for the man. Y'all brothers got so many rules on y'all. Y'all have a lot to be accountable for. Y'all think I have this freedom to do something such and such. The more responsibility, the more accountability. Y'all don't think about that part. Y'all just think about what I can do. What you can do is answer for what you participated in. So don't be so quick to try to get into these situations. And I'm hoping that nobody that listens to this show is in a situation where they in a sister that's in the inbox or whatever, talking to her on the phone and making these plans. I hope it's nobody on this thread. Okay, I'm just putting it out there.
Alhamdulillah. Our brother said, how would a brother know that his sister is in Iddah and who isn't if not speaking to her? Well, we shouldn't be speaking to her without a specific reason anyway, because she's married, right?
Exactly.
So, the question itself is it shows us where we're at as a community, because I don't know about other schools, but just for example, in the Maliki school, when a man divorces his wife, it's highly recommended. It's mustahab to do it in front of witnesses, right? So it won't be like a secret that she's divorced, right? Just like, we do everything backwards in this society. A lot of times our marriages is divorced until the brother shows up with the sister. So the whole marriage itself is a secret. Family's not involved. And we use the excuse that most of our families aren't Muslim, so we won't involve them. But then the Muslim community don't even know either, right? So nobody knows you about to get married, trying to get married. It's top secret. And the divorce is top secret. Then you know what I find as an imam? It happens almost all the time. Like at least it happened just off the top of my head, at least about 75, 80% of the time. If a couple is going through something and there's a brother's about to pronounce divorce or he pronounced it already, the people involved don't even know how many divorces they had already. They're not counting it. Like it's not important to them. Like subhanAllah, do you make salat and forget how many rakats you on? But like our marriage is like, I pronounced divorce. I don't know, 4 or 5 times. 4 or 5 times. You've been divorced. Well, I was mad 2 of them times. SubhanAllah, right? Right? A lot of people still think that because I was mad when I said it, that means it don't count. A lot of people still on that page, right? And so we got layers of problems in it. So, and he said, question. I hit the same thing again. Ask the imam or another brother in the community. Exactly. Every situation is different. If we know a sister's married, we shouldn't be thinking about it anyway, right? The problem is with us. We know if we know that the sister's married, right? I mean, it shouldn't even be a question anyway. If her brothers don't know the situation, but he's keeping his finger on the pulse, want to know if she's married or not, you too close. That in and of itself. What are you trying to line her up for something? Like you waiting in the wings, right? No, it's too much of that going on. And I know because I see it all the time. Brothers be like literally waiting in the wings for a problem to happen. And if he's a little bit more grimier than that, he try to help a problem happen. Right, so he could get it. I'm not saying that's what you're asking, but you act upon what's apparent. If you know her to be married, then she's married, and then so everything else is irrelevant.
If you think about it, if the person is patient and wait until there are witnesses in order to pronounce divorce, maybe by then they would be reconciliation. So I agree with that. The point of the waiting period is of 2 things. Are they going to go back together if it's not the third talaq, right? Or are they going to separate, right? Now just think about it. How would a person know that you in Iddah anyway? How would that information get out? For you to even make a proposal to that person. So there's ways that information travel that should be consistent with that marriage, because technically we already established she's married. But how does that information get out, and how would a person even get whiff of that person being in Iddah?
I mean, also, and this also goes to show how, because of our situation here in America, how we're not living Islam the way we think we are. It's not our fault. It's just a situation we were born into. Like a lot of times, because Allah says clearly in the Quran that when a woman is in Iddah, that the man can't put her out the house, nor should she leave on her own. And a lot of times what men would do is they would go sleep in another house till the Iddah was over with. Then she would leave and go back to her family's house or what have you. But because a lot of times our situation ain't like that, a couple is divorced and they still living in the same house because there's no other house to go to. Right. So there's a lot of and this just reminds me, and I say it all the time, and I'm going to try to keep saying it even more and more and more. Our situation that we're living here is not normal. We are already living in abnormal situations. So we're trying to get close to normal, trying to get move over towards being more normal. But at the same time, we have to recognize that because of our situation, the natural way of determining things is not there.
And just to think about it, while you were speaking, the brother had asked, if the brother doesn't know, Think about it. You get married. You have issues. You try to reconcile it between yourselves, right? When that don't happen, what happens after that? This is if we follow the protocol. Mutual consultation, arbitration, right? That means somebody know there's something's going on.
Right? A representative from his family and a representative from her family.
So they're talking. They know what's going on between the marriage. If that doesn't work, what happens? The divorce, right? They, he asked for a kula, or she asked for a talaq, right? I mean, he pronounces the talaq, and she asks for a kula, whatever, however way, right? The family knows about it. That's how I know who's whatever. And what usually happens within families, like especially in Africa, I'm just gonna say Africa, right? Gambia. If somebody's in talaq, just say somebody's in that situation. There's somebody I already know who to line them up with. You know what I mean? It's already lined up. And it's no a guessing game like, okay, who's going to be the next person or whatever. They're so close. The families are so large. It's like, it's already known. The elders are involved. They know who to hook that person up with. It's kind of different in Gambia, just to think about it. But just think about it. The families are involved. So the information really is not going to travel out, outside the family, I'm assuming, because of the families, into, connected. And people's like, well, families, what you mean by that? If families can't marry each other, well, in Islam, cousins can. So cousins, first cousins. I can marry my first cousin if he's Muslim, vice versa. Naeem can marry his first cousin if they were Muslim, if she was Muslim or what have you. So it depends on the family dynamics where that information will come out. But we can't be sitting there like hawks, like, okay, she married. All right, I know a divorce is pending. We already got the mindset, messed up mindset, just like the women coming in here with this plan B. I need to make sure everything okay just in case it, doesn't work out. First of all, you need to come in there wholeheartedly. Your heart, your soul, your mind, and everything. Just like that man. We don't do that. We gonna half stepping, right? And when we half step, then we get half everything. Our things are like off, and we wondering what's going on, because you didn't come in correct. You come in, you go out the way you came in. That's with anything. How you come in, that's how you go out. And so we got to, rewire our thinking, and it's going to be hard because we live here. You fighting against the current. Things are going one way and things are other. Oh, I just remember the third thing I wanted to say, and this is funny. I noticed my timeline, maybe it's because of the friends that I have on Facebook, about the BET. It was crickets on the timeline about the BET. And I heard about the BET Awards the other day. I heard about it. But it was quiet. And I commend y'all. About that. It's okay. And so that was the third thing. Look at the situation that we in. You didn't see that in previous years and BT what's going on. I don't want to mention it on here explicitly. But look at the mindset. They're pushing this agenda, and it's affecting, and it could affect everybody. That's why you got to stay your ground. You Muslim, you believe in the book and the Sunnah, you got to stick to that. You got to read it. You got to know what's in it, and you got to follow it, and you got to make sure that you protect it and defend it. Because if you don't, you're going to be washed away with the with the waves. You're going to be washed away. When them big waves come, it's going to wash you away because you didn't stand firm. And your marriage, it's like we sabotage our marriage by coming in with a backup plan, like an escape plan. What kind of mess is that? This ain't Harriet Tubman, Underground Railroad. Like, come on, like we got to stop doing that. And it's set up this way because how our living situations, like the woman, she's always going to be taken care of. Her family, her father, her family takes care of her. If it doesn't work out with the husband, she has a place back with her family, and she be there. But a lot of us don't have that support system. So we're left to our own vices, trying to figure this thing out. And that's why we got to get back to community. You know what I mean? Like, we got to get back to community because that's your safeguard. That safeguards you. It safeguards everybody's rights. And we try to skip that and what have you. Like the Imam was just talking about, if you knew your fiqh, you wouldn't be pronouncing talaq in anger, knowing the weight of it. And you know in the Maliki fiqh, the weight of it. You say it in anger, it counts. So you have marriages, they're not even marriages. Y'all keeping it quiet, but y'all really not married. So you worry about what people will say, but you not worry about what Allah thinks of you. And what Allah has, has for you when you leave this world. You would walk this earth and be not married to a person, act like y'all married and y'all not married, instead of doing the right thing. We gotta face the music. We gotta look in the mirror. We gotta stop lying to ourselves. We lie too much. If we follow what we're supposed to follow, it saves you a whole lot of less heartache. Believe me. Let me see here. Sister said, I witnessed a brother that made a habit of seeking a second wife when his current marriage was on the rocks, almost as if to never be single, maybe 2 or more times. Some of them are like that. But it's when his marriage is on the rocks. Now, see that when the brother, and I'm wondering in that situation, did he threaten the wife? Like, if you don't act right, I'm gonna get a second wife. You don't do that. That's not how you bring a woman in here. The Prophet ﷺ didn't do that. If y'all don't act right, I'm gonna bring another wife into our family. You don't do that. You do that for lillah, not as a disciplinary tool, or you trying to get her straight. Allah already told you how to get her straight. You admonish her, you separate the bed, and then you get, the term says beat, but it don't literally mean beat. We spoke about this on a previous show. He get her attention with a misquack, like a little wood. And you hit her with that, not leaving a mark or anything. It's to get her attention, like, come on, sis, let's get this together. He already told you. So we would just be doing our own thing. And what you think that wife is going to look at you or look at the sister that you bring in here? Oh, he just doing that just to get back at me. And we said we are a team. We're on the same. We're family. We're a team. There's no competition or anything like that. But we create this atmosphere that is toxic. When you do that, that's horrible. When it's on the rocks, then he want to get it wife. Won't he get it when it's cool? When everything is good, if you get another wife, all everything is cool. And that's I don't understand. We be operating on the same vibration in the Jahiliyyah and Islam, and we wonder why we get the same results. No, you can't do that. You can't bring that mess in here. Not that if it's not conducive to the situation. Now, if it's something beneficial that you did in the dunya and you bring it to the, into the deen, alhamdulillah, you know how to make money. You know how to make money doing it the legal way. Bring that to the deen. You get blessings for that. We don't think that. We don't think strategically that way. We want to try to still do what we was doing before Islam, even if you were born as a Muslim. Some of us, we stray away or what have you. And then we come back and we want to hold on to those characteristics or those lifestyle habits that is not conducive to you. And then you come into here and you wonder why things is just a shambles and why people don't respect the union of marriage. You have people that don't even respect it. I don't even want to get married. I'll just be friends. I'll just talk to the person. You know what I mean? And I'll just, do the bare minimum where I'm not going to get in trouble. Like we try to test the line, see how far I can go. And it should not be like that. Like, I don't know what we be thinking. Like, the rules are there to to restrict you. It's there to allow you to be who you are with those parameters. And you can be an awesome person. You can have an awesome marriage. You can have an awesome family, community, if we operate like that. Not, let me see how much of the halal I could do that looks like haram. Like these, like we have those those non-alcoholic beverages. If you read the label on some of these things, it'll say 0.009995, right? 0.00000, and then it has 95 or 0.5 or 0.1. Guess what? It's still got alcohol in it. It's not whether or not it makes you drunk. No. The fact that it has it in it, you need to leave it alone. And some of us, we want to get drunk. We want to have that taste. You know? Like, you can find a substitute for that drink, straight up ginger. It's hot, but it's strong, right? You want something strong? Oh, vodka strong. Well, do something that's more medicinal, right? You know, like there's substitute, but we want to, and then we justify it. Well, there's no alcohol in it. Yes, it is. It's not that much. It is, brother, sister. Let's stop playing. Stop trying to be. You can't live both. You can't live both lives. You are the Muslim all the way, or you're not all the way. And when you say Muslim all the way, you're not going to be perfect. We get the idea that we have to be perfect Muslims. You know, you just do the best that you can. Subhanallah. And like Zubaydah said, rules are there also to protect us. Yes, from ourselves. Right? From ourselves. Sometimes it just be like, we be doing stuff, and it's like Allah is protecting you. The institution of marriage. How do we look at it? Everything in it that you do as a married couple, as long as you stay within the parameters without being explicit, you get barakah. It's like sadaqah, like you donating something or helping someone out. You get barakah for that. Being with your spouse. And just, you don't have to worry about, am I committing zina or no? No, you ain't even got to worry about that. That is one less burden off your shoulder. You don't have to worry about it. I am supposed to be with this person. Yes, I can touch this person. I can look at him or whatever, you know, whatever. This is what you're allowed. But when you're not allowed, it's like you're playing with fire. You're not supposed to be looking at a person a certain way. You're not supposed to be touching them at all. You're not even supposed to be interacting with them. And so you're incurring possible punishment for a long time. You playing with fire. And Khadijah said to keep us on a steady right path. Exactly. This is what the parameters that Allah set is to keep us straight, because we're going to veer off. And what happens when we veer off? Allah remind us, come on, let's go. It's not over. You still got a journey to go. And as long as you return back to me and make tawbah and vow that you won't do it again, I will forgive you if that's what Allah has for you. But we just be like, I don't know, it's just like we're just like looking for the punishment. SubhanAllah. Yes, definitely protect us from ourselves. Some of us have no self-control. Some of us is like, you know how you see the horses and they have those blinder things on them? Why do you think they have that on them? And in ASL, they have a sign like this, meaning pay attention, meaning to look forward, right? And not be distracted by anything else, because you take that off of them, they all over the place. Alhamdulillah. I know what to do, and I'm about to do it too, Habibi. Mashallah. I'll be back, inshallah.
Hey man, you're supposed to stick around and keep talking so I can see what you was talking about, so I can pick up on what you were saying. But since you just left out real quick, something crossed my mind that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And I used to think about it a lot before, but I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Well, when I stepped away, we were talking about how a lot of sisters have a plan B, and really from what I was getting is, and I hear this a lot of times we get into marriages and there's no trust there. Like, I'm marrying you, I'm giving you the most intimate, sacred part of me, but I really don't trust you, and I heard my wife talking about how, normally if a woman gets divorced, she goes back to her family. There's a whole extended family. There's plenty of places she can stay. That's not an issue. And that's not our situation here. And so in my mind a while ago, and it's still something I want to do. And inshallah, perhaps, I don't know, there's a few things on the fire that will allow us to do it soon, inshallah. But one thing that I wanted to do, and I still want to do, is I would like for the masjid to have two houses right next to each other, very close to the masjid. Big houses. I don't know what we will call it, but one would be for men, one would be for women. And it would be broke down into several efficiencies. New York, we call them studio apartments. Just one bedroom with your little kitchenette, whatever, right there. Two houses like that. And not just like for women who are escaping domestic violence or women who are homeless and just need shelter. It could be for that too, but just for women who need a place to stay. Like, for example, some women choose to be housewives. They want to take care of their family in the house. They don't want to work. And most of us in that situation, right? Most of the women in that situation, obviously she's not going to be making her own money. So if she gets married, basically she's depending on her husband. And so if that marriage goes south, a lot of people have that insecurity, like, if it don't work out, like, I don't have nothing. I think our masjids should have infrastructure where sisters don't have to worry about that. Where, okay, situation happens, you don't have nothing, you don't have no family, you have no place where you can go, your marriage don't work out, the iddah is up, and you still have no place to go, you don't have to worry. The masjid has a whole big house. You have one of those rooms there, for however long you need to get on your feet. I always had this in mind, because I remember back in the mid-90s, I doubt if this was the first time it was done, but it's the first time I noticed it. Sisters in different cities started coming together to start women's shelters, like for battered women or sisters in desperate situations. Now, I remember one time I was a speaker at one of these fundraisers for these shelters. And I was actually upset because in my mind, my thinking is, Al-Rijalu Kawamuna ala Nisa. The men are the maintainers and the protectors of the women. So why do these sisters on their own have to come together and organize and raise money for a women's shelter? And why isn't the men and the imams and the masjids taking care of this? The fact that these sisters are doing this on their own is a slap in the face to all of the men, and it's showing us that we're not doing our job. And okay, the sisters got together and they have to fundraise. Why do they have to fundraise? Why can't y'all just give them the money? It's bad enough they have to do this on their own, right? The men are supposed to be providing, protection and safety nets for our sisters. Because, again, we don't live under normal circumstances. Most of our extended families are shot or not Muslim. So if any of our sisters, even if the sister has to go back to our family, a lot of times the family that she's going back to is not the best environment that she should be in. So as Muslim communities and masajid, we should be making environments and institutions to protect our sisters so they don't have to be thinking like this, thinking about plan Bs and, backdoor plans and all of these kinds of things. Baitul Muru'a. What does that mean, Muru'a? But this is one of the things, and me and several people in our community have talked about it, and so we just have to move it closer. It's definitely on the drawing board, but we need to do this. Seriously, we need it, especially for our sisters, but even for the brothers, because like I don't understand Pennsylvania law. It's crazy to me, but I notice a lot of brothers who get arrested and sentenced in Pennsylvania, when it's time for them to come home, right? A lot of them have to go to a halfway house. And I don't understand why they got to go to a halfway house if they have a home. Like I know a brother who owned his own house. And he actually got arrested and sentenced for doing something in the service of Islam. And he had to go to a halfway house. He's a grown man, owned business. He owned his own home and he couldn't come home to his own home. He had to go to a halfway house. I don't understand Pennsylvania law like that. So it's just some reason when people come home, they make them go to a halfway house. And so I wanted to open a halfway house up, because a lot of times I can only imagine what some of these halfway houses are like. So when, brothers and or sisters come home, there's an Islamic environment that they can come to. And they don't have to be tempted, in their new environment. Now, if they want to go out and, do something on their own, they can't say that they were living in an environment that tempted them. In other words, our Muslim communities have to be more than just masajid or places of prayer. We have to take away excuses. We have to take away excuses because a lot of times we use our environment, our situation, the people around us as excuses for acting crazy and violating the law. And a lot of times our women, sad to say, in the back of their mind, they have these plan Bs and they doing this backdoor Zina. Is a lot of times there's real pragmatic reasons behind it. Because, if he divorced me and I'm out, I ain't got no place to go. But I got this dude waiting in the wings, and I can always come with it, live with him. A lot of women, some women even say that. And our women shouldn't be put in a position where that would even be a consideration, that they will compromise their deen in order to have a roof over their head or some food in their stomach. That's not acceptable. So as community leaders, we have to take away those excuses. Negroes going to be Negroes anyway, but you ain't going to be able to use us as an excuse. Well, alhamdulillah. I see y'all real quiet there. I don't see no comments. That must mean we talk too much. Let me see any comments that I missed. Mind you, I don't know what my wife talked about while I was away. Zaneda said, I witnessed a brother that made a habit of seeking a second wife when his current marriage was on the rocks, almost as if to never be single, maybe 2 or more times. I've seen that often. A lot of times, I think it's a few things. On one level, men know that it's easier to attract a woman if he already has a woman. Men know, well, most men know that it's easier to attract a woman if he already has a woman. I don't know what it is about your women, but if we single, y'all not really interested. But if we got a woman already, y'all interested. A lot of men know that. And a lot of men, just like women, ain't trying to be single. And on one level, it's like, okay, I'm trying to protect myself from zina. But a lot of us, male and female, we just are scared. We scared to be alone. And we even scared to admit that we scared to be alone. A lot of times it ain't always about being protected from zina, fornication, adultery. It's just the silence kills us, and we don't want that. That's what it is with a lot of us. And so, there's a lot of reasons for that. So a lot of times, sometimes when brothers get single, they stay stuck single for a long time. And I don't know what it is about your women. Once again, a lot of times you'll find us men more attractive when we have a woman already. But when we single, y'all like, I don't know, you'll treat us like scrubs and all that kind of stuff. Rules are there to protect us. Exactly. To keep us on the straight and right path and to protect ourselves.
We read those comments already, so you just went over what we went over.
Like I said, I don't know what you went over. You just got up and
I
left.
know. I
You
didn't
didn't make no smooth break. I couldn't even listen long enough to see what you was talking about, so I could pick up from where you was at. You didn't give me a chance to do all of that. And you was in radio before, so that's completely unacceptable. Acceptable
Look at my
from
niqab.
my crooked niqab sister.
I'm having a hijab dysfunction this time, mashallah. But yeah, so he read all of that.
Shawnane, would you agree that brothers more so over sisters need to be trained on how to treat women in Islam, whether they're married to them or not, before they get married? Yes. I agree. And I also say the same thing about women. My wife says it all the time. She's like, I wasn't trained to be a wife. Like, our situation is so not normal. We don't really appreciate it. We all have to spend some time in Africa or Asia or wherever. Just not when I say spend time, not in the hotel or whatever, with real people and just observe how life is with them. And you'll recognize that this stuff in America and Europe, that stuff is not normal, right? When men and women are growing up in normal places, they are trained. There's a rites of passage, and they don't call it rites of passage because it's just normal. You just do it. Your mother, your grandma, your auntie trains you how to be a woman, trains you how to cook, trains you how to keep the house, trains you how to, there's certain things you talk about, certain things you don't talk about. And we don't have that. And the same thing with the men. And so, yes, we need to be trained, but just like with all of these other things that we're talking about, right? We can sit here all day and talk about what we need. Most people are going to do what they want to do anyway because there's no repercussions. We need this. We need to make the dowry that. And the brothers need to sit from that counseling. And the sisters need to do this. And the brothers need to do that. And we can do that all day. And there's people listening. They may agree or disagree. And then when it's time for them to get married, they're going to avoid all of us who said you need to do this and that. And they're going to find someone to help them and facilitate them do it the way they want to do it. So that's even if we said, yeah, we're going to institute this, we're going to have a training course, and we're going to, brothers going to know how to treat women and all that kind of stuff. People going to be like, all right, whatever. All right, Sheikh, alhamdulillah. Training course, all right, alhamdulillah. Allah reward y'all. Right? I'm getting married over here while y'all do the training course. And plus, a lot of us, there's so many different levels of trauma that most of us have experienced, and we haven't even begun to deal with it. And it's affecting all of these decisions and situations that we find ourselves in as adults. And we don't never want to even go back and say, the reason why I act like this and keep making these decisions is because of this. We just want to stop right here, and we don't want to deal with the real issue. And because we don't want to deal with the real issue, it just keeps happening over and over and over and over again. It's like in medicine, like real medicine, you figure out what the issue is, what the sickness is, what caused it, and you prevent it, and you purify that, you get that alien substance in your body out, and you try to protect, your body from getting that substance in your body again. Fake medicine just treats the symptoms. Oh, you have a fever? Give you something to cool down. Oh, you have a cough? Let me get you a cough suppressant. Oh, you have nose is running, medicine for that. All of those things are symptoms of something, right? We just treat the symptom and don't deal with the real disease. And we do the same thing socially.
Go ahead.
Actually, Imam, some people are recognizing their trauma, but are still refusing to change their bad characteristics instead using trauma as excuses. I agree with that. I definitely agree.
I agree. I was going to say, And we talking about, because, some of us, we weren't born Muslim, some of us, were converts or whatever, revert, whatever you want to call it. And we think because we accepted Islam in our life that it's not applicable or it has no relevance in our lives. Like whatever lifestyle you lived prior to Islam, and you come into Islam like that, guess what? You're going to be the same person. You just got a new way of you got a new deen, a new way of life that you're supposed to be practicing, which going to take time, right, to change over. It's not overnight. Just like being an African American here in America, because I took my shahada, does not shade me or does not, shield me from racism, systematic racism. It's still the same. I'm just Muslim now. And some of us, we don't know how to apply things and don't see how it's relevant in our lives once we come over this way. It's like Islam is a filter. We always talk about that. It's a filter. Islam doesn't say, oh, no, you're not black, you're not white, you're not this, you're not that anymore because no. You have a supposedly correct a belief of Allah, right? You have these correct beliefs in what the purpose of all this thing is. But now you just have to align your habits, your outer and your inner. Your outer, as far as like the ibadah, and the inner is your heart, the cleansing of the heart, right? It's work to do, right? And so we forget that when we come into when we're in a marriage, like we talk about marriage on this show, the institution itself, it's allowing you to be that complete human being. It's half your deen, right? It's allowing you to complete the other half of the deen, like the hadith says, right? What does that mean? That means you should have acquired enough knowledge to pursue half of it. Now let's do this other part of it to make it whole. Because we're human beings. Allah made us to want each other, to be with each other. That's the natural way of things. What you about to say, Habibi?
It's just something deep because, like, today we're talking about, backdoors in that, right? A lot of times we miss the real obvious stuff, right? Like, for example, a brother gets at his sister, right? She's married in Ida, right? And she actually considers it. And she be like, I wonder how his deen is. He's talking to you while he's mad, while you married. What do you mean how his deen is? Hello? He knows you married. On your profile, it says married. He's still talking to you, right? What you mean how his deen is? Do you need something else? Hello? Like the movie where we was coming up. What's that? Don't be a menace to society, drink your juice to the hood. Every time he says something deep, he will come out, message, right? Right? Hello, right? Well, maybe he don't know. Oh, well, that's part of the far eye. You trying to get married, it's an obligation before you do a thing to know about it, right? He don't know, right? So either he's corrupt, he ain't got no deen, or either he's ignorant of the deen. In any case, he ain't got no deen. What are you considering? He's talking to you, you're a married woman, in your inbox, and your deen is shaky because you're actually considering it.
So, the obvious, if you marry, you should not be talking to someone that's trying to pursue you. Like, there should be no conversation whatsoever happening. Because you're opening the door. Just like I was talking about that fortress. It's like letting the milkman in. We don't have milkmans, but just think about it. You let the milkman in to deliver the milk, right? That's his job. But then it's just somebody off the street. You let them in because you just want to have a conversation. You think your husband will be appreciative of that? There's somebody off the street, well, he understands me. That's what I'm here for. And some of us has communication issues. Either we don't know how to talk to each other, or we don't know how to communicate or say what's on our mind. We don't even know what to say or how to express it, right? Because of the trauma that we experience. And it's not just women that has trauma. There's men that had trauma in their background. There's men that have been raped when they were younger. There's men that went to jail and got raped. What, you know, maybe he was in a gang and that's traumatizing. Being in the gang and didn't know how he was going to come out of it alive and wanted to change his life around. Like, you don't know, the walk that people walk in the past, and so this contribute to what you see. Like, those are symptoms, and symptoms meaning there's something there, and some of us, either we don't care or we don't know how to address it, and thinking, well, let me just sweep it under the rug, it'll go away. No, guess what? That rug is going to get higher and higher. You keep sweeping enough dirt under there, it's going to be a mound. Like, what the heck is this? Why is all this dirt under the rug, right? Because you refuse to address the issue. Okay? You refuse to address the issue. MashaAllah. Wa alaikum salam to the barakatuh. Dr. Sabir, thank you for joining us. Let's see here. Trying to go back. Many mental health professionals only want to treat the symptoms and get people on meds. It's a big business. People need competent and caring professional. And that remind me of like a big box store, right? You offer everything, but there's no contact, there's no relationship or nothing. You come in there and go, right? So when they see people, oh, okay, you got this, all right, let me write this script. You don't ask me about my family, whatever, because it's on the list, but you don't care, right? You're just another person. You're just an appointment. Your appointment, 9 a.m., whatever. That's you, 9 a.m. All right, boom, boom, boom. Checklist, all right, next, to the next. And there's no rapport built to allow me to see that you care about me and my progress. That's a problem. Some of my massages are like that. They don't know the people. I've been in massages, and it was like hundreds of people in there, and I felt alone. There was no sisterhood. There was no, it was like a bunch of cliques, right? And if you didn't belong to a clique or belong to a certain country or whatever, you was by yourself. And that, that can affect you. So imagine you being in that type of environment and then you trying to connect with actual human beings. You're not going to be able to do that. SubhanAllah. What you about to say, Habibi?
No, what you said reminded me of when I hurt myself at work, right? I remember, I guess the best way to say it, I fell off the ladder, right? I fell. I was on the ladder, and I felt the ladder giving away, and I wasn't that high off the ground either. And I jumped so as not to fall with the ladder. But when I landed on my feet, I guess I landed wrong. And I remember the pain, and I remember it hurt so much, I just had to fall straight back on my back. And I tried to stand up. And I remember trying to put just a little bit of weight on that leg. I was like, whoa, I lay right back down. Like, oh, no. So I was laying there like, how I'm going to get up? And I got all of these tools I have to bring back to the van, the ladder, tool bag. I eventually did it, right? Right. So then I think it was that same day, I went to the hospital. That same day I went to the hospital because it happened at work. I had to go, I think, to the occupational therapy part, whatever, right? Because I was covered under the workers' insurance, right? So they did an x-ray and they just said, oh, it's sprained. Sprained or strained. I forgot exactly what they said, right? So I'm like, okay, sprained, strained, all right. And I had an appointment. I had to come back the next day because I think it was at night when I went there. And the doctor who checked me out was like, okay, they said it's a sprain. We did it. Nothing came up on the x-ray. And then she felt my knee. And then she was like, something's not right. Let's order an MRI. They ordered an MRI. So I had to wait there. They did the MRI, came back, and she was like, I'm glad I did this. Your ACL is completely torn. Your medial meniscus is totally torn. I mean, partly torn or whatever. And something, the other ligament or tendon, whatever was torn. I can't remember the name, right? And I'm like, right? It's going to be, what? Right? And so I was like, okay, they initially said it was a strain or sprain or whatever. I forgot which word they used, right? And that clearly wasn't it. I said, what would have happened if you didn't order the MRI, whatever? She said, the pain would have went away. Eventually, it would have went back to normal, but you would have had no ligaments and stuff in your leg. You would have got older, and your bones would have started rubbing against each other, and arthritis would have kicked in way early for you. I like, subhanallah. And so, alhamdulillah, I had to, they scheduled the surgery. And I had to go to sports medicine because ACL, that's something athletes tear all the time. So I went to the same doctor, the same stuff that, athletes go to. So they made me go to therapy even before I had the surgery and had to strengthen all that stuff in my leg because they said when they do the surgery and replace it, it's going to be worse. And then had the surgery and was in therapy after that. And so that reminds me that doctor could have been one of them doctors that don't care. Yeah, it's a sprain. Go ahead, right? And I'd have been messed up, right? Right? But, alhamdulillah, right? I had someone that cared and was like, nah, it looks like a sprain, whatever, but your leg shouldn't be this. I shouldn't be getting this much heat off your leg. Something ain't right. Let me keep digging, right? And this is the way we got to be with it, with everything. Sometimes you get with people that don't care. Yeah, it's a sprain. Go ahead, right? And so, but you want to be people like, okay, no, something is off, and we're going to stick with it until we find out what's wrong, right? So that what you said just reminded me of that. I'm sorry.
And that's how we should be in marriage. Marry somebody that care. Some people, they just there for the ride, whatever they can get. And just like a ride, it ends, and they ready to hop off. Like, you got to know that person cares. At least, when they considering you, that they're committed to being with you. Not the idea, but the whole, the whole. Because sometimes it's funny, and this is a funny analogy. You have people that are friends with people, and they don't like their kids. They can be friends with the adult, but they don't like the kids of that person. And it's like, how do you actually have a wholesome relationship when that child is a part of them? And they don't have anything to do with the children's behavior. They just don't like them. I've heard people vocalize that. I don't like their kids. I deal with you, but their kids, I can't deal with it. And it's like, in marriage, yeah, I'm married to you, but I don't like you. And it's just like, and it's a telltale sign because the way things are going, they're not affectionate. They don't, they don't consider them. They always like making sure that their rights are being, honored. But now I'm here. Look, it's all about me. I don't care how you feeling today. You don't feel good, I don't care. Stuff like that. And it shows. So you have to be particular. You don't have to settle. It seems like it's not somebody for everybody, but there's somebody. It's just a matter of y'all aligning with each other, and that's qadr. Whatever Allah has written, because He already written for it to happen. So it's a matter of time for it. It's going to happen if Allah written it for it to happen. And sometimes we be pursuing the thing that's not for us, and we wondering, we like bump heads, like why it never works. Like I'm always running to these certain type of people because they are not for you. This is what's for you. Then we get into this situation where I have preference. Yeah, you can have preference, but has it been working for you? Has it been successful with these people that you have a preference for? Think about it. Open your eyes. SubhanAllah. So, SubhanAllah. So, backdoor Zina. Oh, that's a question for you.
Are there for us. We don't want to follow anything, just want to be Muslim for an event and not for a lifetime. That is a major problem. Everything is not clinical, it's simple caring. Exactly. A lot of us, you know, we don't care. I mean, I don't know how else to say it's simple, right? It's one, like, caring is one thing. I mean, having sympathy is one thing, and having empathy is another thing. Having empathy is when you literally try to put yourself in the other one's shoes and try to, if I was them, how would I feel? And then relate to them like that. And a lot of us seem like we don't have the ability to do that. Like, listen, all I know is what I need this and I want this, right? How you feeling is good. I heard you and all that. And the fact that a lot of us can't do that, that also breaks up a lot of our marriages. A lot of us seem like not be able to even understand that. I mean, I just said it. A lot of people they don't understand that. What you talk about, right? I heard you. I can repeat what you said, but how you do that? Like,
I can't relate to that, and that's sad. And sometimes they don't break up; they just living in misery. That one person is like miserable. They try to do the right thing, trying to be patient, but that's it's misery.
And I'm like, how you not see that person is miserable? Like me, I'm like, okay, if I notice before when I would come in the house and I say assalamu alaikum, you say wa alaikum salam. And today I come in the house and I say assalamu alaikum, you like wa alaikum salam. I noticed that, right? So how you be with somebody all these years and you don't realize that person's having is going through depression, about to have a major mental meltdown, and you like, oh, I ain't know, because you're not paying attention, and you oblivious. You don't the red flags. People waving the red flags, and you're like, what's that? Right? It's a flag, Negro, and it's red. Yo.
And that's how these backdoor Zina situation happen, because you're not paying attention to your spouse, and this person is so desperate for attention or someone to talk to, and they talk to this person, maybe embellishing stuff, make it sound like this person's such a bad. They may not be a bad person, they just don't know how to communicate. That's just how they, are. But yet they are confiding in this person. And the person listen like that. Why, they getting treated like that? I would be a better spouse than that. Don't worry about it. That's not going to last. We'll hook up. And we already explained that's haram. No, that's haram.
Even saying that to somebody is haram.
So you can't make no plans. That's still that person's wife, regardless. And you have to respect that. And you can't be with a fork and a spoon or a knife and a fork. Like, okay, I'm going to wait this out. I know it's going to be
with
over.
With your bib on. This how brothers be with married sisters, right? The sister be married. The brother be on the side like this. This is my sweat rag, but I pretend it's a bib, right? Right? Wait a minute. My knife and fork. Slobber coming down the bottom. Yeah. Wait a minute. The slob coming down the bottom. This is the brother, right? The slob. You see the water? Who see the slob? There it is. The big boy. Trying to give. So I think it's just. You ain't did that yet? The ulama al-haq said it does one men's, right? Don't your men start tomorrow? You know when the men start. He know when the men start. The husband don't know when the men start. He know when the men start though, right? Yeah, don't your men come on tomorrow? Or it's about a day late. Yeah, I wrote it down, right?
That is terrible. So go back Surah, ayat Surah 2, ayat 235. You can make a hint, but you wouldn't even know that person is in Iddah unless it was made known. And how was it made known? You got to question that too. So stay out them inboxes and stop talking to everybody. Leave that man's wife alone. Sister said the same brothers already got 2 wives that they aren't doing right by. And still looking for another entanglement, right? We're going to call it entanglement. Not to say it's haram, but come on, get what you got already. You know? What is you doing? Abdul Hakim said, honestly, a lot of black Muslim men out here are trash when it comes to showing emotions and being passionate to their women. Dudes be treating their boys better than their wives, shaking my head. Over masculine weirdos. We talked about it. Homie over hoes. That's the concept. Homie over hoes. Let's see here. Why do Muslims think Allah will be pleased with scheming or swindling a potential spouse, a potential mate towards marriage? We're supposed to be honest and straightforward with our intentions. Communication, honestly, all the way in. It's sad because they don't fear Allah. Like, they're not present. Meaning, they're oblivious to those angels that are sitting on each side of us. We all believe that. That's part of our beliefs, right? They don't believe that Allah is all knowing. Like, that doesn't scare them. They have no taqwa. You can't have taqwa. You know, we're supposed to be like cautious about what we do. But we don't act that way. We just do whatever, like, okay, whatever. This is, they just do what they do. They don't care what the recompense is. It's just like, I'm just doing me. I don't care about all that. Yeah, I believe that, but it ain't all that deep. We don't think things are deep or serious until it gets serious. Until death knocks at our door and Allah allows that angel to take our soul. We haven't experienced yet. We right here, right? Just imagine. And that angel take your soul and all the things flooded. And you're like, dang, I wish I can go back. It's too late, bro. It's too late. You can't make that up. Why wait till then to do the right thing? Right? Why wait till then? Like, you got all this time. You can drop dead right now. I'm going to wait. I'm going to procrastinate. A lot of us is procrastinators. We like, okay, I'll eventually. But you really don't have no intention of doing right. You're just talking. SubhanAllah. That's scary. And some of us, we just don't operate like that. We don't operate like we're going to have to answer for these things. We're doing our own thing. Right? I'll repent when I'm old, as if we know how long we live long and know when we're going to die. And look at these days of time. I say it all the time. I say, young people, I'm at an age that you may never reach. Young people die every day, B. Like you're not even going to reach my age. And I don't consider myself old, but it's that bad. You don't have all that time. When we were younger, we probably felt the same way. Oh, I got time or what have you. But that's not the right way to be thinking. You don't have any time. You're on borrowed time. You don't know how much time you have. SubhanAllah. Now that scares me. That's why I simply don't understand why these behaviors are still persistent. That's an indication. If a person is acting that way, leave it alone. They're them flags. Message. Like, we be coming into these things like, oh, they're going to change. Oh, it's not that deep. When it is something deep and they don't change. And then you want to complain later. You already know how they were before. What made you think they want to change after marriage? They're not. Unless they want to change. And guess what? Sometimes the change is not going to happen with you. They'll have a realization like, dang, I'm such a certain person. All right, it didn't work out for me, but then he'll go on to the next person and be right? You feel cheated, right? Right? You feel cheated that you put me through all of this just to say, all right, it's not gonna work out. Let me go over here, and he living his best life, or she living her best life. Now that they got the realization, feel like a science project, don't you? Don't get in it, right? Ooh, child. Miriam says, Shaitan at work to make us forget that we're going to die. Exactly. People these days are not afraid to die. How do you get through to that person? I'm not afraid to die, because this is what's going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. Like they already got in their mind what's going to happen. That's the very thing that led me, by Allah's permission, to Islam. I was scared to death to die. I was like, what's going to happen after I'm gone? I couldn't think. I had no clue, and that scared the living daylights out of me. Death. And as a Muslim, we know death, that's not where it stopped. You just living on the other side now. Whole other circumstances. So whatever provision that you packed up here, you better make sure you got enough on that other side, because that's all you're gonna have. And by Allah's mercy, that is gonna be sufficient. We ain't got time to play. MashaAllah. And right here, as my grandfather always says, Shaitan don't take no coffee breaks. Nope. We take all types of breaks. We got a break for everything. We take more breaks and put in the work. And wonder why I ain't getting no work done, because you was on a dang on break. Watch y'all. You got anything else to say, Habibi?
No, ma'am. I said no, ma'am.
Okay, well, close us out.
Now you know that's your job. Stay in your place, woman. You know your place here is to close out. Thank our people for joining us and spending time with us.
Walaikum salam.
And tell them how much we love them.
Yes, we love y'all for the sake of Allah. Alhamdulillah. You are our family. Alhamdulillah. And those, that don't love us, mashallah, we love you anyway. And may Allah guide you and protect you. SubhanAllah. And keep the Muslims in your du'as. Keep the non-Muslims in your du'as as well. May ask Allah to guide them. Du'as is very strong, y'all. Let's not sleep on that. The dua is the weapon of a believer. If things are not right, make dua. Make tahajjud prayer at night. The nighttime is the best time to make those extra prayers and asking Allah what you want. We sleep on that. Don't oversleep that. You need to stick with that. And you'll see your life transform. SubhanAllah. You will see your life transform. Because you're giving up your nights when there's going to be a time that you're not going to be able to pray. Just think about it. When we die, we're not going to be able to make salat or ask for forgiveness or anything like that. It's over. So ask Allah for forgiveness for yourself, for your family, your children. Don't forget about your children. Our children are like targets, okay? Some of us, they're falling short. Some of them are on the straight path. You still got to pray for all of them. Because the shaitan, he love our children. And we got to protect them at all costs. And one of those things is to pray for them. Even if they're not Muslim, pray for your children. Pray for their protection, for their guidance. A guidance and for them to get close to Allah, to know Allah, as well as yourself. Pray for your spouse. Don't leave your spouse out. Pray for them. Because that person that you laying next to may not be there anymore. Or vice versa. You're not going to be there anymore. And you're just going to be a memory. Pray for them. Ask them to forgive, ask Allah to forgive them. Teach your children to pray for you. SubhanAllah, make sure that they pray for you, that they are righteous, upright Muslim. They may not be the perfect Muslim, but they are upright Muslim. And their du'as are protection for you. And we don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on that. Don't give up on your children. I don't care what road they look like they're taking right now. Don't give up, because that may be your lifeline. SubhanAllah. And with being said, the Ummah, make dua for the Ummah. Those that are sick, those that have returned back to Allah, ask Allah to forgive them and grant them the highest station in Jannah. Let's say, search of Fatiha for all those. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, we'll see you next week again on Thursday on the Half Your Deen show. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik wa la sara innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Bismillah.